Hey guys, Pokepixel here with a bit of a dry video. So, I recently remembered that my dad bought himself an MP3 player back in around 2017 or so, before getting himself a dedicated audio player a year later. And yeah, I was looking through his drawers and I found it. Here it is, it's the Mahdi M220, and yeah, it's just a cheap Chinese MP3 player. It's not special in any way, but that's what makes it a bit funny. So, as you can see, the design looks kind of like an iPod Nano. I don't have an iPod Nano, but I do have an iPod Classic that I can show off. You can also see the size comparison. But yeah, it's got this thing that looks like the scroll wheel, but it's not. It's just a D-pad, which makes a horrible sound. I believe the front of it, and it also looks quite horrible, having this scratchy chrome-looking design. Hate it. But it's got a glass front, I believe, because it doesn't have a lot of scratches on it, and it kind of feels like glass. And the back is metal as well, which is pretty decent. As you can see, it's got a speaker, and it's got horrible labelings on everything, like USB, on-off switch, headphone jack. That's what a lot of cheap, like, old tech from China used to do. And it's got this little holographic sticker as well, like a lot of Chinese tech does. I love it. And yeah, it has two buttons on the side here for lock-in and dedicated record mode. So you can use this as a dictaphone, essentially, because you can record and then you can play back your recordings, which is pretty useful. And then it's got a TF card and a little quality control sticker. So let's turn it on with the on-off switch. It's got a little animation, and then it comes on very quick. Now, the first funny thing is, actually there's a lot of funny things. Let's start with the screen, because as you can see, it is really poor. If you're not looking at it dead on, it washes out completely. And if you look at it from an angle, it just, like, the colors get inverted. The Amazon listing lists this as an OLED panel. OLED panel it is not. This is definitely a TFT panel. If you scroll down on the Amazon listing, you can actually see it then says TFT. So that's the first funny thing. Second funny thing is you can actually turn it off by holding down the play pause button. There's a little bye-bye animation, and then it turns off. But as you can see, the power switch is still set to on. But then, yeah, you just hold down the on-off, the play pause button, and it comes back on. And if you use the dedicated on-off switch, it just cuts power immediately. Look at this. No animation. Obviously, I think the firmware for this must have been made for a device that doesn't have an on-off switch. And if you've seen any, like, AliExpress or Amazon listings for MP3 players in recent times, you will notice that a lot of them have this exact user interface. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's just one manufacturer that's just pumping these out, and, you know, people like Mahdi are just putting their own name on it. In fact, you can find this, like, an MP3 player that has the same UI and looks very similar on Amazon for dirt cheap, like £10 or something. I believe this costs around £20 or £30. I believe 30, but I might be mistaken. So let's unlock it. Every time the screen goes off, you have to hit the unlock button, which is just a pain. And yeah, let's just go through the menus. So we've got settings, music, movie. It uses the, if I can remember the name, AMV file format, which a lot of MP4 players use. It's a pretty terrible format, but when you've got a screen so small and so low res and so crap, you don't really care. Record function that we'll check out later. Radio, photo, ebook, browser, alarm, game, and stopwatch. So let's go into the game, obviously. So in English it says tools. In Polish, I think it says alarm settings or something. I don't know why. But if we start the game, as you can see, it's Tetris, so you can't really see. I have to do it at this awkward angle. And yeah, even the controls are very awkward. And there is no, like, fast scrolling. It's just you can only drop. And I was playing this earlier because I was recording and I forgot to hit the bloody record button. I'm an idiot. And one of the blocks actually glitched at the bottom. So this isn't coded very well. But what I mean by glitched is it was this exact block, but only the two blocks on the top showed up. The bottom two disappeared, which makes no sense. What also doesn't make any sense is if you pause the game, you can actually still, I believe you can still rotate. Yep, and you can still drop. Let's choose the record function so I can show this off as well. It takes a bit to initialize, which takes a pretty long time to initialize. Oh, there it goes. And yeah, now I'm recording with the MP3 player, I've got it quite up close up to my face, but I'm just gonna put it further away now, and let's hear it back. MP3 player, I've got it quite up close up to my face, but I'm just gonna put it further away now, and let's hear it back. So what have we noticed? Well, it's quite noisy. This speaker is not very good, as I'll show off later. Also, you can see that I had to turn it up to level 31, which is the highest level, so it's very quiet, that's for sure. Let's play some music as well. It's not very good. It's not very intuitive, this UI. And you can see when you scroll, like, it just does this kind of horrible refresh as well. Yeah, it's very tinny. It's quite loud, but you wouldn't listen to audio through it. You'd listen to it for your recordings. What is the audio quality like through the headphone jack? Well, let's talk positively. It's quite flat. The mids are pretty good as well. The negatives are, however, there just isn't a lot of bass, and I'm kind of accustomed to having bass because my laptop, which is a MacBook Pro, and my iPod, you know, they have similar DACs and they're quite bassy. This isn't very bassy at all, and for some songs that's okay, but for some songs it just, you know, it doesn't feel as immersive almost, for me personally. What I also don't like about this, however, is that the highs, they can be a bit, too much, fatiguing. They're quite loud. So what you end up having to do is actually turn down your volume just because they're so much louder than all the other parts of the song, so you end up having to turn down the volume so you're not as fatigued. Overall, the audio quality, it's not too bad. It's really not too bad, especially for 30 quid, and especially if you can get this for cheaper, because I'm sure they just run the same internals. This has an action chip in it. I don't know if that's just the SoC or if it has a DAC as well, but it's not bad. But I feel like you can potentially do better. But let's just quickly go over some other stuff that it has. It has an equalizer that I'm going to show off right now, which is a bit confusing. As you can see, it has a custom setting, which is exactly the same as if you were to hit an equalizer and then go down to custom. I have no idea why it has it twice. Use left and right to go up and down, makes sense, and then you press M to switch between the different bands, which are for some reason labeled as letters instead of numbers, and then you hit play pause to exit out of it. You'd have to get used to this navigation system because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you'd think to go down, you'd press down, but that always goes into volume. You have to press left and right. It's a bit counterintuitive. But yeah, it's a little MP3 player. There's not much to talk about. It's just a bit amusing to me because it's a bit cheap and it's very Chinese. And I like cheap Chinese electronics. But yeah, I think that's all there is for this video. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in a more interesting video next time.